A long time ago, there lived a king and his queen in a faraway land known as Kuzu. The king was a very kind and emotional one. He loved his family and subjects so much that he could do anything to make them happy. He was known as King Okuzu V, and the queen was known as Queen Okuzu. The king was very powerful, and his wife was also very powerful and good in martial arts. She could rack a group of men down because she had the powers and techniques to do that. Those were some of the things that attracted the king to her. They had two children. The first child was a boy, while the second child was a girl. The first son was called Naga, and the daughter was called Kedi. Naga was 14 years old, and Kedi was 12 years old. The king loved Kedi, his daughter, a lot because she looked like his mother, the previous queen, who was a very dear and loving mother to him. While the queen loved their son Naga because he looked like her own father, who was very dear to her too. The two children grew up to know the various loves shown to them from both quarters, and they did not complain because they had been experiencing it that way since they were born. The king had two brothers that were younger than him, and they lived in the same kingdom with their wives and children too. The king's family was of the emotional type, prone to doing well to humanity, and that was the reason why the people of the kingdom were ready to obey the king to the last order. One day, the king was in a joyous mood, and he called his people for merriment. Drinks and foods were served, and while they were seated, he called his two children, and in midst of everyone, said something that made all present to be in surprise. My children, I love you both so much, and I want you to do this favor I'm about to ask for me, he said. Yes, Papa, the children replied in unison. What do you want us to do for you, Papa? Aga asked, standing attentive. As you all know, he said, looking at the crowd in front of him in his courtroom. In a week's time, I'll be celebrating my birthday. Everyone present was waiting to hear what he had to say. My two children, he said, and glanced at the crowd again, smiling. I want you both to go out there and look for the rishi flower as a gift for me on my birthday. The first person to find the flower and bring it to me will become the king or queen of this kingdom. I don't care if the person that finds it is a boy or a girl. And if none of you are able to find it, you will both lose the throne and it will go to someone else in the family. The king had dropped a bombshell. Everywhere was silent as night itself, and you could hear a pin drop. Papa, I don't understand, Ara said. And it was as though his words broke the silence in the room. Suddenly, everyone seemed to be talking at the same time. What do you want to do with the flower, and where in the world will I find that, Papa? Aga asked, frowning. The queen looked at the king and wondered what he was up to. Those in the room were also surprised and could not understand why the king would want his children to go out there into the forest or wherever that was to look for a flower that was so rare to find in the kingdom. They all knew that the Rishi flower was very beautiful and it depicted true love. It was also very rare to find, and only someone with a pure, true, and loving heart could find it. Oh, Papa, exclaimed Kedi, I'll go anywhere in the world to look for the Rishi flower for you, as long as you love it, Papa. Thank you, my beloved daughter, said the smiling king. I know you will. Why, my son? The queen quickly chipped in. You will find it, of course, easily. Yes, of course, Mama. he replied, wondering where on earth he would be able to find such a rare thing. Father could be quite odd at times, he concluded within him. She had quickly summarized everything and made up her mind that her son had to be the one to find it in order to become the new king. She was seeing it as an opportunity to rule the kingdom herself through her son. She had always found it idiotic that women rarely became rulers in her parents' kingdom, except on circumstances beyond anyone's control. If her son became the king, she would automatically be the one controlling the kingdom due to his age, and that was what she wanted. After the meeting, the queen called her beloved son Naga and told him he should try as much as he could to find the rishi flower and present it to his father. He would then be crowned the reigning king, and he had to make sure it happened. My son, the queen said, if your sister finds it first and presents it to your father, it means she will become the queen, and the mantle of leadership will move from you to her. And when she marries, it will then move from the family to her husband's family. I know you won't want that to happen, will you? I thought it over and said, no, mother, I wouldn't want that to happen at all. Good, his mother replied and added, so make sure you go out there and get it first to your father. Yes, mother, I replied. Promise? Promise, mother, replied her son, nodding his head in affirmation. Katie knew her father loved the rich flower and was ready to go to the length and breadth of the earth to get the flower for her father. She met her friend Izzy, a young boy of her age, and he offered to go along with her to the forest to search for the rich flower. The two children set forth in search for the rich flower. Aga also went with some bodyguards his mother had assigned to him, about three of them, and together they went into the nearby bush. Later, some of the high chiefs were wondering why the king would ask his children to bring him the rich flower, to hand over the kingdom to the one that was able to get it. Well, if his daughter gets it and becomes the queen, I guess my son can go for her hand in marriage, the chief commander of the king's warriors said, laughing jokingly. It's not a laughing matter, my friend, put in the second in command. It is possible. Anyway, said another chief, let's see how it goes. The children had now spent about 5 of the days given to them by their father in search for the flower already. It was remaining only 2 days to go, and it was mandatory they see it, otherwise their father was willing to give the throne over to his younger brothers because he believed in love, a pure heart, and a true self. Aga would sit down in the forest on her stool while the bodyguards would be looking for the rich flower all over the forest for him as instructed by the queen mother. The men were able to find one, but it was already dead and dried. So they kept searching for the environs with in mind that they would be able to find another one there at least. Aga and his men would be laughing at Keddy each time they walked past. They felt they were too small and thought them incapable of finding the flower. Keddy, on the other hand, was beginning to feel sad that she could not find the rich flower for her father, and she loved him so much and would have wanted to see the smile on his face when she gave him the flower. He would embrace her and encourage her to keep search more for the flower because every day at the end of each search, she would go to her father and prostrate before him. And her beloved father, who loved her so much, would embrace her and encourage her the more. Izzy liked Katie a lot better than her brother because she was nice and kind to everyone. And for the fact that the queen had given her favorite child an escort to follow him about the search while leaving her daughter, who was more vulnerable, behind, a girl for that matter, to do that alone, was even more touching. He saw those reasons and felt the need to help her. So he started to think where they would be able to find the flower. He wanted to help his friend, and he kept on trying to remember where he had seen the flower before. He remembered suddenly a place where he used to see the rich flowers. When he passed a certain road with his mother on their way to a neighboring village and told Keddy about it. Okay, Izzy, can we go there? Asked Keddy anxiously. Today is the sixth day, only one day to go. Yes, Keddy, let's go find the place. But it's very far, and I pray I'll be able to trace the road, Izzy said, offering some prayers as he started in the direction of the village. Luckily, they were able to find the place, and behold, there was only one fine looking irishi flower on the plant. Teddy plucked it, and together they hurried towards home. On their way back, they met Ara and the bodyguards still searching for the irishi flower. They stopped dead on their tracks and turned to look at the two little children with mouth agape. Where did you find that? They asked in unison, surprise written all over their faces. We We stammered Keddy. She could see the fear. She could see and feel the malicious eyes of them all as they stared at her. You're suspecting Izzy, said to Keddy. Now that the guards are here, you are safe now. I think I'll run along in case my mother is in need of me. Take the flower to the king and don't waste any more time. With that, he ran off towards the direction of his home. When Naga saw that Izzy had left, he ordered the guards to take the flower from Keddy and bring it to him. When Keddy was trying to protest for the flower, Aga quickly collected a club from one of the guards and smashed it on her head, and she collapsed and died on the spot. Bury her immediately before anyone finds out, he ordered the guards and warned the shocked guards never to say a word, otherwise he would tell his mother and they would let them off the post. Aga went straight to his mother and told her everything that had happened. His mother was very happy and told him she was very proud of him. She warned the guards too and promised to make them right when the time came. That evening, the king became worried when Kelly did not come back to greet or see him as usual. The king was very unhappy because the absence of his beloved daughter, Kelly, made him feel sad somehow. While he was thus worried, someone entered the room. He looked up eagerly, thinking it was his daughter. But no, it was a young man. He could not see quite clearly. He sighed deeply and looked up properly. What he saw next was his son, Naga, coming towards him with his mother and guards. Ah! Exclaimed the king, hiding his disappointment behind a simple smile. Is you, Aga? He asked, hoping his daughter would come in anytime soon. Yes, father, it's me, Aga replied, taking the rich flower to his father. By then, other people had started coming into the room. Everyone present was very happy. Aga was the one that had seen the flower first, being that he was the heir apparent to the throne. There was a great sound of applause from the people in the room as the king took the flower from his son. But his mind was not pleased at the sight of the flower as it would have been. He was worried about his daughter. It was already dark, and she had not come back to see him as usual. Something must really be wrong, he thought within him. He threw the flower on a nearby stool without any feeling. Where is Keddy? He asked aloud, getting to his feet. Where is my daughter? He asked again, to no one in particular. It was as though he was having a premonition of something. He was told he had not seen her all day. What? The king exclaimed. Guards, go out there and look for my daughter, he shouted. There was pandemonium everywhere as they started searching for Keddy. When Izzy heard about it, he quietly went to the king without anyone knowing and told him how he had led Keddy to find the flower and how they had met Aga and the guards in the forest. He explained to the king that the flower was Keddy's and not Aga's finding. If Keddy did not return home, then they must have done something terrible to her. He told the king where they had met Aga and the guards and advised they should go there and check. The following morning, the king ordered his son, the queen, and the guards that Izzy had told him were the ones that were at the venue at that place at the time. They went to the forest, to that exact spot that Keddy and Izzy had met them. When they got there, Keddy's voice started to sing. It was really loud. The voice was singing a song that told of how Aga and the guards had killed her and took her Irishi flower. That was what penetrated into the king's heart, and he broke down. He fell on his knees on the spot and mound of earth that he knew she must have been buried because the song was coming from that spot. He could see it and was filled with emotions at the thought of his beloved daughter being dead. He felt movements around him suddenly and rose up his face to see his beloved wife brandishing a sharp sword over his head. He could not believe what he was seeing. My beloved queen, he said and exclaimed in surprise. You? Yes, my beloved husband, she replied, stabbing him on the chest immediately before he could take any defensive action. The king fell down, clutching his chest as blood poured out. You are in surprise. She laughed. I've wanted this for so long. I want the throne for my son. But, stammered the king in pain as blood was gushing out from his chest, and he tried to get up to his feet. Aga, my son, finish off your father, the queen commanded. Yes, mother. And instantly Aga came forward and stabbed the surprised king, who had let guard, thinking he was safe with his own family and blood. The king, at the point of death, raised up his eyes, his voice also rolling with all the last strength he could muster, and said, if I truly father the like of you, you killed your sister and now you are ready to kill me. You shall never inherit the throne of my loving ancestors. My people are better off without you, son. You and your mother will die a miserable death. Goodbye. He dropped finally to the ground and died. The king was taken home and his death was said to be an accident. The king was buried and was about to be crowned as the new king. On the day, on the night before the day Aga was to be buried, to be crowned, Aga was murdered by Izzy in revenge for his beloved friend, Kedi. And the queen was executed alongside the guards by the king's brothers. The two greedy people, mother and son, never lived to inherit the throne. The words of the king, yes, the words of the kind king who let himself loose out of trust for his family came to pass. All the secrets were let out by Izzy, who had watched the whole incident from her hidden quarter afar. A true friend indeed he was. Something must kill a man, Izzy muttered sadly, shaking his head. That is the end of the story. Subscribe, like, and press the notification bell to get every new video I create. Thanks for watching.